everyone. Can you hear me okay? Awesome. I am Aditi Saluja. I'm product manager, generative AI at Red Hat. A little bit, just a little bit background about myself. I've been in the AI world for a long time, 5 years. Started out as a software engineer, moved to data science, uh, published a lot of research papers, worked in research, and then I found my calling in product, AI product, of course, stitching together experiences and building experiences for products that resonate with people and are useful for the people. And that is sort of the inspiration of my talk as well. Uh, Beyond the buzz, discovering high impact use cases for generative AI. Uh, Gen AI so this is sort of like an agenda, why the hype needs grounding, good versus bad examples, and some key takeaways. So most of the Gen AI pilots, they kind of die in pilot phase or in just MVP phase. And going from pilot to production is a real challenge for most enterprises right now. These stats are by an MIT study that 95% of projects, they just die in silos. And one of the major reasons for that is that people don't think about ROI. They just care about building flashy demos and just stucking AI in every use case. Everything that you can see, you'll just have one AI presentation in every org. I remember I was working for Dell before, and we had this amazing leadership things and leadership meetings, and all everybody cared about was presenting your AI strategy when there was no AI strategy because nobody understood the real AI, and engineers were still not able to skill up to what is the real need to build AI products and applications. So let's learn from some of the enterprise misfires and see what we can do right. Most of the Y Combinator startups, they start with this problem of thin wrapper. When ChatGPT launched and OpenAI, they released their OpenAI APIs, there was just a myriad of GenAI startups at Y Combinator getting funding and then failing miserably. And the reason was that they didn't have any real moat. The only thing that they had was a UI on top of ChatGPT. That does not build a defensible moat at all, because anytime a new startup launches, you lose your moat and you do not have anything left. Then came the age of the prompt engineer. So the next thing that everybody started doing was prompt engineering on top of ChatGPT and building startup layers on top of that. There was a flood of clones, talk to your PDF, email wizard GPT, fake therapy, and legal bots. There was low barrier to innovation for some of these use cases, and everybody could just get in because APIs were there. You could build a cool demo and get funding for your cool use cases. But when the time comes to scale these things in production, it falls flat, and organizations, they are not able to realize the real ROI, the real benefits. This is the classic summary of the failure formula. If you look at the recipe here, idea GPT but for niche, front end Tailwind landing page, back end OpenAI plus Firebase. What is the business model? Just SaaS plus a flat pricing model. And plan is just hope that marketing tweets are going to make it work. And this is not how you find the right use cases or build a right startup. Another classic use case that I have personally seen fail is text to SQL. It's a demo darling that doesn't scale. One of the core reasons is it looks magical in demos, but it fails in real enterprise databases. And there are problems with accuracy and obviously trust issues. At Dell, we were building one of these use cases, a text to SQL use case for our supply chain planners and managers, because they were under a swim of dashboards. There were thousands of dashboards where they had to pull data from. So we wanted to kind of unify and build a text to SQL UI for them so that they can bring insights directly with the natural language question. So tell me the revenue for uh, uh, XYZ market in this quarter. But this doesn't really work because the models hallucinate, and then supply chain planners and managers, they had to make real business decisions based on this data. So trust was a big factor, and this is where enterprises need to realize the right use case to invest in as well. And another thing that when we talk to the users, talk to the clients, was that we already know SQL. We already this is just something the leadership is wanting to invest in, and this is not something which will really benefit us at all. So why are we building this? There is no real value that they could get from it. And when what real value they need is to be able to write complex queries to retrieve data from multiple tables. When Gen AI falls flat on that, it doesn't work beyond a single table. So it is very important to realize that these demos work well for a single use case or a single entry point. When you deploy it into production, they fall flat. Some of the Gen AI use cases that stuck: AI dev and code assistance. I don't think I have to convince you on that. I remember hearing the talk at LlamaCon, which was Llama's conference recently for Llama models, and there was a talk between Mark Zuckerberg and Satya Nadella saying that uh, in future, software engineering is going to be the first industry that's disrupted, and each software engineer is going to be a tech lead with an army of software agents. And this was back in April, and I can already see that happening because all the engineers at Red Hat, they have started using AI engineers as pair programming buddies. Claude Code is something I use very regularly. When I have a feature request, I will go to my engineers and I will try to mock something up myself and discuss it with them. Then Cursor is amazing. So recently, since I've moved into product management, doing a little bit of less coding, but still very much interested in it. So I have thought about a cool use case for synthetic data generation, for which I'm a PM for. And I went to GPT, found all the research, the latest research papers for that use case. Then asked GPT to explain me the paper. Went to Cursor agent mode and said that, can you please implement this pipeline? It implemented the pipeline for me, and it was very accurate, and it understood the entire demo structure and all the code and created a new feature branch, created PRs for me. It was sort of magical. All I needed to do was just test the code, and it worked very well. I'm pretty sure that there are optimizations that we could do, but this is a classic use case for software engineering, AI development, and code assistance, which is really making a massive impact right now in all organizations. AI assistant for customer support. This is a classic one. I don't need to dial into this, given we have. I guess, are we good on time? Or okay, okay. So Gen AI and support is, we talk to a lot of customers, and this is primarily one of the first use case that comes up, that people want to deploy AI to their frontline agents and reduce the customer support burden. One classic example that I can give at Red Hat is Ask Red Hat. It is a AI virtual assistant tool that is embedded into our console, which is like our Red Hat products page, then our docs, as well as PCM, process case management. So users can ask questions like how to install RHEL, and it gives you the answer. So these kind of, and we do see a lot of traction. We do see customers and software engineers, as well as field agents, asking questions. So more than 2,000, 5,000 users on a daily basis interacting with this. These kind of agents and use cases are directly proving effective, and the more we build towards these use cases, more enterprise value can be realized. Another classic example is Bank of America. They launched their financial assistant, Erica, which started as a project and now it scales to 1 billion transactions per year. This is another GenAI use case, workflow automation. Workflow automation frees up people instead of wasting time on like repetitive tasks like scheduling, filing tickets, or chasing up updates. These tasks can be offloaded so teams can focus on higher value and creative work. And it scales everywhere. Ops, HR, finance, sales, support, all of them can benefit from it. And another like I always try to root it in an example that we are working on or we have deployed. We are currently working on testing this workflow automation of going directly from idea to code. So at Red Hat, product managers and field agents and customers write a lot of RFEs, which is requests for enhancements. And it takes about a month to refine those RFEs and then for engineers to break down those RFEs and then for real development work to actually begin. And we have streamlined this entire work with a series of like agents which are going to write the RFE for you, then refine it, work with engineers to break it down into tasks so that actual development time, the time it takes to go from an idea to code, it reduces drastically. So 95% of GenAI projects fail, but you are the ones who can build the 5% that work. What is the real differentiation? What is the real moat? So first that we have seen across the board, the use cases that succeed is that they're grounded in real workflows. These projects, they don't start with let's just try ChatGPT. They start with a painful bottleneck in the business and design AI around fixing it. Second, they build trust, accuracy, reliability, governance, security. These aren't afterthoughts. They are the core design principles from day one. Third, they are narrow and focused. The winning projects don't try to be everything for everyone. They are laser focused on a single domain or team, and that's why adoption sticks. Fourth, they show clear ROI quickly. The teams that win define success metrics, whether it's cost savings, reducing cycle times, and faster response cycles. They can prove impact within a few months. So if you're building a GenAI use case and you have spent like months and months of cycles and it is not giving you results, it's probably time to pivot. And what is the best time? This is the best time to pivot in GenAI because there's a sea of opportunities that you could try. And finally, I wanted to end like I go on LinkedIn and I see like a swim of posts on AI agents and Y Combinator trying thousands of startups, and there is no real defensibility or moat around them. But what actually wins, what actually are the startups that are succeeding, like Cursor, Fluently, I track them all the time. What they're doing right is that they are working on building domain expertise and integrating deeply into the workflows and also understanding the enterprise problems. I was at the AI4 conference last month, and I actually met a startup founder who built a solution around this because enterprises don't understand where the employees are struggling, where they can get the productivity gains from. So this is Horizon.ai, and the founder was telling me that they launch virtual chatbot assistants directly to all the employees in an organization so that the employees can chat with it and tell it about the daily processes and where they're losing the time. And that's how they bring, think of it as having 100 plus customer discovery interviews. And that is how they get insights from where the employees are struggling in their daily workflows. And then the organizations are using that to find out the right use cases for their org to build real startups and or real projects within an enterprise. That's it. Thank you so much. Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, just quick question. Do you have any advice for someone who's technical, like an engineer, advocating for realistic analysis of what use cases are going to be improved by using LLMs or other AI techniques, and what use cases might not benefit from them?
It actually depends a lot on like your enterprise setting. So if even like I said, text to SQL doesn't scale, but Databricks it is building it in a way that is useful for people, right? So it depends on how you implement it and deploy it as well for your enterprise setting and for your use case. This use cases that we are going to see continue is obviously like software SWE agents, then customer support agents, case summarization, then also the use cases for doc summarization, enterprise search, like the even with thin wrappers that I said, companies they build thin wrappers because they don't want to expose their own data. So they just build UI layers with data models hosted on prem and then a UI around it to give their employees to talk with it, which is again a good use case. But it is not probably if you're building like a startup around it. So it depends on how you deploy it and for your enterprise setting. But certain use cases, it actually depends a lot. Certain use cases, for example, for predictive AI, are most of our customers are still doing predictive AI because they are in finance and government and defense sectors. They don't consider these as important use case because they're building mission critical systems. So ticket triaging, customer support automation is good for them, but they are still predictive AI is where they make most money, and that still runs the businesses today.
Hi, I'm trying to frame my question as I'm thinking, so bear with me. So, have you found any use cases in say platform migrations or project management space? For example, let's say it's typically relevant in big companies where the left hand doesn't know the right,
Yeah,
and the customer's like, "What is happening to me?" I mean, no one is answering anything. No
right,
chatbot, or because they're silos.
right.
So I was wondering, since you have exposure to this, have you found any use cases, or you think it's an interesting space to be?
Yes, exactly. So I think I did mention one use case, like we're doing investing in workflow automations. So for is exactly to your point that even when we are building features or refining features, a lot of this is done in silos. That product managers prioritize in silos. Then there's not a lot of discussion with engineers from upfront, but what we are trying to now embed is AI agents into this process that can make the life of a product manager easier by writing the agents, and then quicker reviews from the engineers to refine it. So we now have like a whole council that helps us review these features, but it is very time consuming because it takes like a few weeks to get one feature approved and then go from idea to production. But if you have like streamlined agents that can be used, a product manager for refining the jiras, then engineering input, if you have a playbook of rules that I need at least this as my minimum criteria to pass a feature, and that can do it, run it automatically for you. And then we need customization in all these things. So maybe like one engineer reviews features, the senior engineer might have a different criteria, somebody might have a different criteria, so they can build their custom criterias into these use cases as well, into these agents essentially. So again, I talked about like prompts, they are not the moat, but how you deploy it, they can become the moat, right? Like how context and prompts in an agent and then multi-agent setup, and if it solves your business problem, it becomes a moat. So there are many use cases that we are seeing and we are implementing ourselves at Red Hat. So I'm very excited about the from idea to code directly and using AI to help with this whole process, because I feel the pain myself. Like there are thousands of processes about platform which we don't understand, and we have to like understand about FIPS compliance, this and that, and yeah.